So welcome everybody to our celebration of the trees. Here comes Tim Barber. I want to give a little background. When our tree committee started several years ago, there was an arborist in New Bedford, Chance Perks, who said you should pick places, little pockets around town that need trees. And we immediately thought of this area, which had some trees in bad condition there and in front of middle school. We raised some money. We ended up going and putting 8 new trees in front of middle school. There are 3 London plane trees, 3 red maple trees, and 2 swamp oaks. Those went in Columbus Day 2024. Then we put in 2 tupelos here the following October. And then we had a very, very generous donator who gave us a lot of money for 6 more trees. So we're going to tell you a little bit about the trees, what they are. I just want to say that our whole notion is that trees are very underappreciated. Too often they're cut down for our needs when in fact they're upholding the needs of a lot of species, birds, insects, mammals, whatever. So we need to plant more trees. We're trying to send that message. Our whole concept here is to see a whole row of trees stretching all the way down the block. And as they get bigger, they'll fill in. So I want to turn it over to Adam first.
All right. Hi, my name's Adam Careva. I'm a member of the Dartmouth Tree Committee. And Susan, who was unable to be here, has sent me a blurb to read about one of the trees, the Magnolia virginiana, Sweet Bay Magnolia. It's a woody flowering shrub native to the East Coast. It's at the northernmost edge of its native range here. It blooms sporadically from spring through summer with creamy white cup-shaped flowers that emit a sweet lemony fragrance. A graceful semi-evergreen, the silvery undersides of leaves will create a shimmering effect in the breeze. Cone-like seed pods turn red in the fall. A perfect spot for this fine native. And a fun fact, I guess, is that the bark was used by indigenous peoples to make a tincture for treating chronic rheumatism, coughs, colds, and fevers.
Hello, Tim Barber, Director of Public Works and Tree Warden. We've been working on this project for a little while now. We had removed a number of trees that were in poor condition last year and another tree this year to make room for the new plantings, and working with the tree committee. I think it's a great project, and fortunately we have a lot of trees in town that are older, and some are in rough shape. Some are like the ash trees are infested with a beetle, where we'll have to take down a lot of those trees, and working with the public utilities around the utility lines to remove those. So working with the public utilities like Eversource, we plan to replace some of those trees with newer trees, and we have some other projects looking forward to this year and next year with the tree committee to work on some areas of town that need some new plantings and trees.
Hi, my name is Susan McLaren, and I'm on the Dartmouth Tree Committee. I'm going to read a poem called When I Am Among the Trees. It's by Mary Oliver, and it's about the solace, comfort, and inspiration that we get from trees. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness, I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches, and they call again. It's simple, they say, and you too have come into this world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine.
So I meant to say I'm Ann Parson, chair of the committee, and what we're doing here is we're telling you about the 4 different types of trees that have gone in here. This was the Sweet Bay Magnolia. Also, we planted some beautiful October Glory maples, 1, 2, 3 out there. And they're They have many benefits. They go up very quickly. They grow 1 to 2 feet a year. It's a popular tree also because it puts on a beautiful display of red and orange for many weeks in the fall. It's a very hardy tree, and just like people, it will live on average to 80 to 100 years old. As its name implies, it again dazzles the eye in the fall. By the way, this species is a cultivar of a red maple. That is, it's a variety that has been produced in cultivation through selective breeding. So it's not a species from the wild. It retains the hardy, colorful traits of red maple. Ruth Furman should be here too. She's on our committee, and she was going to tell you about the Japanese tree lilacs. There are 2 of them back there, ivory silk. They're small trees that are a trouble-free tree. Large plumes of lightly scented small white flowers smother the branches in early summer, a bit later than the common lilac shrub. Ivory silk is compact with a rounded, dense crown. We have something going on here that's not unusual. They aren't doing very well right now. You can see they look a little shriveled, and they might be in a state of shock from being planted. But wait till they, habituate, they're going to be beautiful. Next.
All right, so I'll introduce the poem that I'm going to read, but before we do that, I invite you to take a moment and slow down and consider trees, because they really are amazing organisms. The very air is split, with the part of it that can cause instability in Earth's climate being removed, and the part of it that every animal needs to breathe being added to the atmosphere. The carbon dioxide is combined with earth and water in some sort of seemingly magical feat, and is forged with the energy of the sun into a living monument to life that inspires so many, a tree. Practically speaking, the tree provides shade, a windbreak, and shelter from driving rain, which prevents or at least lessens erosion of nearby soil. In addition, it loosens compacted soil, and with the previous actions that I just mentioned, mitigates flood risk. Dozens to millions of living things are influenced by a tree. Bees, butterflies, and other pollinators visit some species. Birds, squirrels, insects, and other critters find shelter and food in other species. Fungi form direct connections with the roots of the trees and exchange nutrients with their host tree and help spread information from that tree to others. A very large number of organisms in the soil also benefit from a tree. Humans, too, benefit practically. Flood risk mitigation, cleansing of air, climate stability, but also in other ways, maybe not so practical to some. So people who come to town hall may take a moment, take a breath, slow down, take a breath partially oxygenated by those trees, and enjoy the shade and the lower temperature the tree provides on some hot day in the summer, and perhaps feel a bit of gratitude and joy before entering the town hall to pursue whatever business they have. Some of the children at the middle school right next door, taking a moment from their studies, may look out of the window at one of these trees and find a friend or an object of wonder and inspiration, nourishing their imagination and interest in learning about the world. Trees do so many things for others and ask so little in return. It's a life of service, perhaps, though I like to think of their lives more as unstoppable expressions of joy, overflowing in abundance and generosity. It may seem a small matter to have planted a few trees here, but I'd push back on that, and I brought backup. Jane Goodall rushes to my mind with perhaps her 2 most famous quotes. Every individual matters. Every individual has a role to play. Every individual makes a difference. And what you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. The works of Tolkien, author of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, linguist and dendrophile, inspired a quote in one of the movies about his books. Some believe it is only great power that can hold evil in check, but that is not what I have found. It is the small, everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keep the darkness at bay. Small acts of kindness and love. The idea of many decisions and acts of service by ordinary people being an antidote to the corrupting influence of power and evil is central to much of Tolkien's work. Every being, every vote, every purchase, every act, and even every thought influences the world. Perhaps you, like future visitors or the children next door, may take a moment in your day and reflect on these trees and find joy and inspiration before heading into work. The poem I selected to read today is Plant a Tree by Lucy Larkle. He who plants a tree plants a hope. Rootlets up through fibers blindly grope. Leaves unfold into horizons free. So man's life must climb from the clods of time into heaven's sublimes. Canst thou prophesy, thou little tree, what the glory of thy boughs shall be? He who plants a tree plants a joy, plants a comfort that will never cloy. Every day a fresh reality, beautiful and strong, to whose shelter throng creatures blithe with song. If thou couldst but know, thou happy tree, of the bliss that shall inhabit thee. He who plants a tree plants peace. Under its green curtains jargons cease. Leaf and zephyr murmur soothingly. Shadow soft with sleep, down tired eyelids creep, balm of slumber deep. Never hast thou dreamed, thou blessed tree, of the benediction thou shalt be. He who plants a tree, he plants youth. Vigor won for centuries in sooth. Life of time that hints eternity. Boughs their strength uprear, new shoots every year, and old growths appear. Thou shalt teach the ages, sturdy tree, youth of soul is immortality. He who plants a tree, he plants love, tents of coolness spreading out above. Wayfarers he may not live to see. Gifts that grow are best, hands that bless are blessed. Plant, life does the rest. Heaven and earth help him who plants a tree, and his work its own reward shall be.
Hello again. I just want to say a few words about two of the trees that we planted. Last fall, I think in October, we planted tupelo trees, which is kind of an odd name, but tupelo, black tupelos also are called black gum, and their botanical name is Nyssa sylvatica. And one of the tupelos is right there. It looks like a little bit reddish, and the other one is at the opposite end of the parking lot, in similar position. So these are very attractive trees that have glossy dark green leaves, rough blocky bark, horizontal branching, and sort of a pyramidal shape. They really star in the fall when they really create a blaze of color. Scarlet, orange, gold, foliage. They're really very beautiful. And it's a medium to large tree it will grow to be about 30 to 80 feet tall. It is a native tree. It's native to this area as well as much of eastern North America, from Maine to Michigan and Florida to eastern Texas. The name tupelo comes from a Muskogee word for swamp tree because it's often found in low-lying swampy areas. Now obviously that's not what this is right here, but it's also found in upland dry areas. And one of the things about tupelos is that they're really a good choice as urban shade trees or street trees because they can tolerate flooding, drought, compacted soil, and salt, all of which we probably have on occasion. The female trees have dark blue fruits that are very small, but they're an important food source for a lot of migrating birds like cardinals and robins and blue jays. They're also eaten by various woodland animals. And honey is made by the bees that pollinate and harvest nectar from tupelos, and tupelo honey is considered very buttery and special. You may have heard of a song by Van Morrison called Tupelo Honey. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Becky, the Recreation Coordinator for Dartmouth Parks and Recreation, and I'm going to read a poem entitled Trees by Harry Ben. Trees are the kindest things I know. They do no harm, they simply grow, and spread a shade for sleepy cows, and gather birds among their boughs. They give us fruit and leaves above, and wood to make our houses of, and leaves to burn on Halloween, and in the spring new buds of green. They are first when day's begun to touch the beams of morning sun. They are the last to hold the light when evening changes into night. And when a moon floats on the sky, they hum a drowsy lullaby of sleepy children long ago. Trees are the kindest things I know.
So this will be the last poem. It's a little bit more lighthearted than the last one. I mentioned the students in the middle school next door. My daughter Samara, whose name actually refers to maple seeds, she's there. She loves trees and she also loves poetry. And she was very excited to learn about this event and downright downtrodden when she could not come because she's in school. She didn't like my poem much. It was too many thous and shouldsts. So she picked out a poem for me to read. It's called Let's Plant a Tree by Eileen Fisher. It's time to plant a tree. What shall it be? What shall it be? Let's plant a pine, we can't go wrong. A pine is green the whole year long. Let's plant a maple, more than one, to shade us from the summer sun. Let's plant a cherry, you know why. There's nothing like a cherry pie. Let's plant an elm, the tree of grace, where robins find a nesting place. Let's plant an apple, not too small, with flowers in spring and fruit in fall. Let's plant a fir so it can be a lighted outdoor Christmas tree. Let's plant a birch, an oak, a beech. There's something extra nice in each. In winter, summer, spring, or fall, let's plant a... Why not plant them all?
So, thanks everybody for coming to this. I think more trees here are going to inspire more planting. People driving by are going to see these trees coming up. If you know other areas along the strip that could use new trees, Tim, I think our generous benefactor is interested in putting many more trees in and helping us do that. Meanwhile, all of you go home and plant at least 1 or 2 or 3 trees this summer, okay? Thanks, and celebrate your tree. Bye.